Call order the regular board meeting, West Valley School District, September 10th, 2025. Would you like to read the call orders?
Thank you. Citizens may comment on items appearing on the agenda when invited to participate during that agenda item by the board chair. Citizens may comment on items related to school district business not appearing on this agenda during the public comment portion of the meeting. Citizens, after identifying themselves, will proceed to make comments as briefly as the subject permits. Basic rules of decorum are in effect at all times. The chairperson may interrupt or terminate an individual's statement when appropriate, including when statements are out of order, too lengthy, breach personal privacy rights, are abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or otherwise improper. The public should realize that this is a trustee business meeting conducted in a public forum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On to the consent agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Do we have any? But, okay, we'll go on with Valley Organization Report. There's nobody for that. The West Valley Organization.
Just two things. I've heard some great positive feedback from staff and families that starting after Labor Day was a really good thing. And a big difference, it seemed, to a lot of people. And then also kindergarten is very grateful that we got to keep low numbers, especially the three of us in the really teeny tiny classrooms. And just personally, I have 14 kids, but just at free time, it's just really crowded with just 14. So we're grateful that we have lower numbers this year. And that's about it.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Principal's reports.
They're in leadership meetings right now.
Okay. Superintendent's report.
Yeah, so I can give a few updates. The insurance company inspection report came back with their glowing reviews again. I think that's a testament to Phil and how he keeps up with things around here. There were some photos on there that I linked to my board updates. The conference room again was inspected and everything came out up to code and all of that. So that was a really good thing that ended up not being nearly as expensive, as we thought it would be. So again, congrats to Phil and Bridger for all the work that they put into that. Wanted to give an update just from, I guess, just a few days ago on the decennial study for the changing of the formula that the legislature and some people around the state are looking at. So it would be an elimination of the base and maximum budget limits. So it would replace that 80% base with needing to go to the voters for 20% of the remainder. And then basically that means we rely on levies. They would get rid of that model, which would be huge. However, then what that would do is change some of the funding structure that they haven't agreed on to yet. As we talked about last time I mentioned it, they would be way less about A and B, which is student funding, and more about quality educator funding, and then keeping a flat rate of that funding instead. Like right now, if you remember, we get a certain dollar amount for kids and then it decreases at a certain rate, at every chunk that we get. That would be a flat rate instead. So there's a lot left to be done with that. They're coming to Kalispell on September 17th they're doing a state tour. So hopefully, you know, we can all, or not we can all, but the admin team can attend that to better understand kind of where they're going with it. The director of SAM said today at a Northwest Mass meeting that it's been pretty much what their main focus has been, you know, after in regard to legislative stuff. So that it's all good news to me. Funny enough that, I mean, bigger districts are kind of actually looking at it, you know, AA districts is kind of like, it might affect them a little bit more in a not so great way, because they would rather it be based on their kid numbers. Because they have, you know, some more flexibility with, you know, overflow sites, and you know, it's not all about, you know, the teacher stuff. So one of the AA people has been kind of bringing that up to the crew. So it'll be interesting to see where they land with it. My guess is it'll be somewhere in the middle. You know, it'll be like kind of a combination of teacher funding numbers and kid funding numbers. But for us, it would be really, really nice if they funded it more teacher based instead of, because, you know, if we have 30, you know, 31 kids in third grade, for example, right? That's too much. But if we had to hire 2 teachers, then you'd have a situation where you'd have like 15, you know, 16. So then, but you're only funded at that 31 rather than those 2 teachers. So it's that's what our frustration has been, you know, not frustration, challenge, I would say, is that a lot of our numbers are borderline. So that if we add a teacher, then our numbers are really, really, really low. Or if we, you know, like try to make it so it goes up to that, you know, well, we'll hit accreditation or go over, then it's pretty tough. We had that situation in second grade last year where they were over accreditation, but adding a 5th teacher would have made, you know, the numbers quite a bit small. So it's been something, a challenge we've dealt with every year. But anyway, more on that to come. That's something that'll be that I'll talk about probably every month. Just give an update on where it's at. Maggie wanted me to let everyone know that the audit has started. So she's been working with Angela, our auditor, on getting an early audit, which is huge because then we can get a lot of that done early instead of trying to scramble kind of at the last minute as we've been doing years past to get that completed and finished. So props to her and Angela for getting that started. Finally, I can say we've got bids in progress for replacement of the 3 main roof heaters. So we're gonna probably hear, my guess is next week sometime between Tuesday and Thursday, we'll get at least one of them back. The one thing to know about that has come up is that it could cause some roof repair as well, because the way that they're designed is basically to be embedded within the roof. So if we replace those, then it's gonna take some roof repair. So we'll bring out some roofers to also look at it and see what that would cost to mitigate some of that. And we just don't want to get into a situation where we solve one problem and create another. And so we're gonna be on that, but very excited to say that that's happening. Feels like it's been kind of like a ongoing process, but thanks to our voters who approved the levy and some financial management, we've been able to make that a priority and lock that down. So the timeline on that will most likely be in the spring, because that's something that cannot be done while kids are here. And it's gonna most likely take, you know, some, we just don't want anything to happen over a break. It gets delayed, something happens, and then we've got kids in the building while they're doing that kind of thing. So we'll survive one more year, push through, and then be hitting the ground running as soon as we possibly can. So that's good news. Wanted to let you know also that we've removed several and are going to start removing the bushes in the ditch that are on McManamy draw all along there, because bus drivers were reporting that it was very, very hard to see when they turned out of the bus area there. So our solution was just to pull them out. You know, they were planted quite a long time ago, and the idea on that was like privacy, that they didn't want, you know, but now they're so overgrown, we, yeah, don't need them anymore, so we are gonna start tearing out all of them down that line, so. But the main reason was just because, you know, I can't see, so we're like, okay, well, let's get them out. But yeah, so that's what I have there. From that, we're looking for a full-time custodian in the evening. We are looking to add an additional custodian. We haven't lost anybody. They would be working from 3:10 to 11:10 p.m. And then we might do some shifting on some shifts there. Maybe do some overlap coverage, because the office has reported that, you know, it's kind of hard when, you know, someone, you know, throws up in a classroom, you know, Joe's gone for the day, and, you know, Phil's gone. You know, Sophia, Bridger, and Marty aren't here yet, so there's this gap where it always inevitably happens.
Shooting hour.
Yes, and that ended up, it happened last Friday, where I happened to be out at a meeting too, and it was just a perfect storm of everything, so. It was handled well. It was actually in Miss Rubish's class. He handled it really well. And, yeah, we left it, and then Sophia came and took care of it. But yeah, it was just one of those deals. That of course, inevitably it will happen at that moment, and it did. So we had actually been talking about it just prior to that day, about moving schedules around. So just an enrollment update. There's some interesting data that Brooke has collected over the summer, so I'll read that to you. So we had 33 students leave West Valley between last year and the start of this year. Half of those students moved out of state, which is really interesting. And only 4 went to homeschool of that, which is lower numbers. And we heard from Flathead County Superintendent that it looks like, you know, homeschool enrollment is down a little bit. They're still expecting about 1,500 kids in the county to be homeschooled, which is still quite a lot. But we also then got 48 new students to West Valley in 1st through 8th grade during that time. We have 89 returning out of district students, and we accepted 9 new out of district students that happen to be in grade levels where we can accept them and wouldn't go over accreditation amounts.
And had to accept them.
Correct.
Important caveat.
Correct, yes. So that gives us a total of 791 students to start our year when we open the doors, which is exactly the same number that we started the first day of school last year. So pretty interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like we are at our highest percentage right now is 2nd grade. Again, they're at that 91% over, so they'll only be able to get a few more kids, you know, and they'll be over. And then there, you know, there's again our really high grade levels like 6th, over 100 kids. And we kind of like to keep those class sizes where they are. Anything more than 26 in a room is starting to get pretty crowded. It can go up to 30, but again, our, you know, belief is that it's not best practice to go as far as you can. So yeah, I think all that being said, we are looking forward to another count, you know, coming up here on October 1st, where we have pretty high A and B numbers, so our funding will remain what it is. So other than that, that's. How many percent was there? There are 70, yeah, right at 7.
How does that compare to average?
That's low.
Oh, that's low.
Our average, we try to do an average over the last 10 years, which has been right around that 75, 77. Our highest, or that's actually the last 15 years. I think our highest within the last 15 years was a 2019, and it was 88 kids. So, but I think that could be the 6th grade class, you know, which is really high. That's our really high class, and birth rates are down. I was talking to a couple other districts, and their kindergarten numbers are down too. All over. Kalispell's down. I don't know if it's going to be a trend to stay right at that 70 number, but I think it's tied for the lowest class we've had in kindergarten since I've been here.
Although with all the new developments coming in.
Correct. Oh yeah. We expected to. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So that'll make a big difference.
I was gonna say Alicia, suggested, and I think we're going to, do kindergarten roundup in April, because we don't do that anymore. And that might give us a better idea of how many income,
Yeah,
and I think that's.
Yeah.
Might be a solution to find out, because every year.
yeah. Well, I can finish what you were gonna say, because it's true. Every
because
year.
Every
we
single
have
year,
this.
it's so stressful for
It
us, because are we teaching kindergarten or are we teaching sixth grade math? Like, we don't
Right.
know, because we don't know the numbers.
Yeah.
And it's horrible,
It's,
so.
yeah, really, I haven't been here a year where we haven't made some sort of change to kindergarten. I think this year was the first year that we ended up not, because of low rather than high. Normally it's been like, oh, we've got to add a kindergarten, so we're gonna have to pull from the grade level.
Is there 5 kindergarten classes?
5,
How many kids can you have in a kindergarten
20.
class? Oh,
we have up to 20. So,
We don't,
which is, I mean, I can tell you from experience, I had 21 kindergartners when I taught in Kalispell, and it's it's awful. I mean, not awful. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah,
It's
but
just-
it's hard. It's really hard.
It reminds me
Not
of
best for
that
kids.
cartoon Leo with the kindergartners that are just these like little feral humanoid creatures that are drawn different than all the other cartoon characters, like
Yeah.
pretty much sums
Yeah,
it up.
right.
It just,
Yeah,
going on the field trips last year in kindergarten blew my mind, watching those teachers just stay totally even keeled through all the shenanigans.
oh, yeah,
There's a lot.
there is. But that 14, 15, 16 number is a bit solid.
do we not, at one point, I thought maybe you mentioned that we have a lot of people show up at the last minute to enroll kindergartners. Is that not an issue anymore?
We didn't see that this year. We were kind of putting our eggs in that basket that
Yeah.
we would, our numbers were kind of running a little low, and I remember Brooke and people in the office like, oh, it'll get higher. They always come a day before school starts. Or they, wait till the Thursday, Friday before school starts and come in and do it, but we really didn't see that. It didn't happen.
But things would say it's low throughout the whole batch.
It is, yeah, it is. And I think our online registration has helped that out a little bit. It's really just getting the word out to parents who don't have siblings here. They're starting their kindergarten year. They just don't really think about how it affects us, and I don't blame them for that. You just have to figure out a way to reach that group of people. Who, would register in the spring if they knew how much it affected us. So. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. We'll go on to the action items. We have the check register here. Yeah, Maggie left, and she wasn't sure whether the information was gonna be available to do her form, of how much we have left in which house. But she hasn't got that, that before she left, and those figures. So those will be available at the end of the meeting, but this is all she had at this meeting. Offer this. Richard, the Facility Improvement Corporation, what is that?
That's FICO.
Okay.
That's who manages all of our HVAC.
Right, that's just, how many times do I ask that?
No, sorry.
I've seen it written out like that. Mhm. And maybe it was so relieved just to be able to write that these distributions are a thing, now this will be the last thing we'll show how to do. But that. So she was happy with that.
The large amount of 32,850 BMO financial. What is that, just transferring funds or,
That the BMO is a credit card.
okay.
Don't know.
There was a lot
Okay,
of,
so
there was a
that's
lot of
stuff
high
that
bills
Maggie
on
just
that.
ordered for the
Yeah.
school or paid.
Shannon just said it was.
There was a lot of bills on that were,
Okay.
like, one was like 12,000, another
Okay.
one. Yeah, it wasn't specifically supplies, it was more things paid with the credit card for the school. more than a functional, or, I think a lot of them were things that, actually, let's see, they were, like the online, yes, things like that, and then,
I didn't
for,
realize it was. That
Yes.
makes sense.
instructional stuff, a lot of it was. Yeah, that's my mind is thinking.
Make the motion to approve the bills.
Is there any good discussion on that? No, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Oh, no, we should, alright, you can, we could write here to make a report. We did some, no, I'm not breaking it. I mean, it's just
You can
giving me,
pass.
because we passed over, I mean, you know. Ordinarily, we've had principal's reports, but they're all pretty, because you don't want to that.
I have a couple of things down, but we were just meeting with our district culture team. I think that that's going really well. We have a great team that's working on, our theme of we rise and shine together as districts. And so we have great people on that. It's really good ideas for an all-school assembly, spirit week, and how we can kind of bring our staff together and their shared beliefs. And that group is going really well. As for the middle school, our new schedule has been going well. We changed up our hours and our class change times. We implemented our flex time, and so far this month it's at the end of the day, and the kids are in small groups. It has been kind of based off our We Rise and Shine Together, and we've spent the first part of the month like doing team building and culture building. The kids seem to really enjoy those activities, and moving forward, it will be that like a check-in on Monday, culture building on Friday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be like academic assistance or what I need, or, you know, something for advanced kids if they need a different project. So that's going well. Our new grading system has been implemented, and it seems to be working well. Teachers are putting work ethic grades in every week, and we've gotten some good responses from parents when they see some of those going in. So seems to be off to a good start. Started some of our intervention groups today. So it's been a lot of just trying to, you know, figure out where the paras are gonna be and what they're teaching and training them. And we have a lot of new paras this year, which is amazing, and they're enthusiastic, and that's exciting. And, but just trying to get them feeling comfortable and letting them kind of, watch, you know, seasoned paras and Tanya model things so they feel comfortable with that. We still, Megan, our special education teacher in life skills classroom is still in need of a little bit of support, so I am gonna leave the para position open. If we could get one more person that would want to help in special education, that would be ideal. But otherwise, our staffing is looking pretty good. That area. Our teachers are off to a good start. I got to visit almost every classroom so far. I have 2 kindergarten classrooms left, but I went around to each one, did a little meet and greet, and AI helped me write a Warrior Way book. So it was kind of cool because I got to read that to everybody, and we're starting a new thing called the Buddy Bench outside. So Caspian, our art teacher in the middle school, is going to help me decorate it, but essentially it's for kids that if they don't have someone to play with outside, they can go sit on the bench, and if you see someone sitting there, you go up and invite them to play, and vice versa. And so I was trying to, you know, really hit home on the kindness thing and helping people feel, you know, included at school and things like that. So, and there's some fun things going, and we had the open house, and that was a hit. You know, from parents and staff and kids, it seems like it made everybody feel a lot more comfortable, and the first few days of school were really smooth. Not a lot of tears like we've seen in the past, and so I think it is a huge benefit to have that day for everyone. So yeah, it's been off to a great start.
Thank you. Now we'll go on to the second action item. I will have the new personnel. So do you want to address that, administrative assistant?
Sure, yeah, we, offered a position to Libby Denman, who was a fifth grade teacher for us last year. And decided that, it really didn't work out for her to do that, so she left that position, and then when our administrative assistant position came open, she thought it looked a little bit more attractive, so we offered her that position, and she's here 5 days a week from 8 to 1 o'clock, and so she's 0.6 FTE. And yeah, the other two on there for hires are Megan Duke and Jordan Buckner, who were hired as paraprofessionals, who ended up applying for the administrative assistant position, but we thought would be better fits in the parapositional role. And they accepted and have, yeah, started briefly, but have anything else, Alicia, on those guys? But, yeah, that's what I know about that. And then the other three on there are resignations. So, yeah, that's what I would recommend. The last one on there is an extra duty stipend for Alicia Genter to be a volleyball coach.
Motion to approve. Small fees.
Second.
Is there any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now we have, information on the Chromebook. Did you want to address that?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so we have a very large aging fleet of Chromebooks. Pretty much all of them expiring by the year 2029, and some of them are actually earlier than that. And we need to get it on top of getting those replaced as we can, so we're not a huge replacement. And so I took out some bids for different companies for Chromebooks. And I found that this one through Tripera, doing the 100 Chromebook buy-in, they give us a 10% discount. So that's a $3,000 savings right there. And these ones will come with 4-year accidental warranties, come with drop cases. We all sit there and don't have to worry about damages for a while. We all know what happens. I don't know.
It's like a 5-year thing.
It's like
The actual numbers, total, I gotta go through them all and make sure which ones got retired, and which ones didn't, but I know we're sitting obviously 800. I think my inventory says I have over 1,000, but I don't.
Like, that's what it shows on the sheet, but sure there's some nuance to that. So we are pretty much 1-to-1 with kid numbers.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out too, that we are able to do this type of thing too a lot easier and more timely because of the levy. The tech levy.
I can't believe they're, like, they know we're gonna give them to kids, and they're giving us some warranty.
It's
It's all needed warranty. It's damages that up quick.
Yeah. We still have a policy where we charge students or the parents if they want to buy an insurance policy or something on the Chromebook.
We chose not to offer that this year. We're only gonna be charging for damages, you know, the event of intentional damage that we witnessed.
Okay. So would this be kind of like the pace you think going forward, like 100 per year? Or
Now, if we do 100 per year, we're not gonna make the
we're not gonna make
deadline,
2029,
right?
yeah.
So we're gonna have to start stepping it up. And, I think it's a meeting conversation we have to have where we sit down and find out where our budgets.
But this is a good start.
Definitely a good start. Yeah. Big undertaking to get 100 of those in, get them out to the classrooms.
With testing now, it's all done on these Chromebooks, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Make the motion to approve the purchase of 100 Chromebooks.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. We'll go on to the staff handbook.
Yeah, the staff, elementary and middle school handbook saw very little change, very little adjustment. It's something that we have to do every year to approve that, be able to put it on the website. The staff was updated, that type of thing, but there's no major changes to those documents.
They're pretty late.
Yeah.
I mean.
Second.
Any more discussion on that? All those in favor of approving the staff handbook? Opposed? Unanimous? Okay, go on to the K through 4 enrollment. And we should done, I mean, that, the continuation.
And nothing really, just like the schedule, the staffing, and then, one update I did make to it was giving a little bit of flexibility to class placements for new students. So I said within the first 10 days of school for the new students, because oftentimes we randomly place them in classes, and sometimes we never know anything really well. Sometimes they're marked an IEP, but we don't even have their IEPs yet. We don't know if they're coming with behaviors or if they're not gonna be a good fit in the classroom, and so that is one thing I added, that we have a 10-day window for brand new students that we can change their class placement if we feel it's, they just better fit for them. And we have it. We're not making any changes this year. It's going good well, but I wanted that in there to let parents know.
So is that something that would be like if the discretion of the administration or
Yeah.
like, could parents also request that or not?
This would only be for the brand new students, so, what I think I put in the wording there, it would be like yeah, I'd be up to the administrator. So somebody could reach out and say something, but it would still be like our final say of whether we felt that was appropriate or not.
I thought it was pretty clear, and that's elementary, we can't go, we can't go to.
Yes, and that's where I was very clear that it's only like brand new students who were not, you don't have any background information. But everyone else yeah, where you can get a place.
Yeah, that was well
Yeah.
stated, that
Okay.
you know, that's very carefully discussed, where students go into what classroom, and so the parents don't get to turn around.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
says
that was
the
good.
administration reserves the right to transfer new students to a different classroom within the first 10 days of school if deemed appropriate, and that's, I'm assuming what was in that, so, yep.
The new students.
Yeah.
That motion to approve the K fourth grade elementary school handbook.
Second. I think they're in for the discussion on that. All those in favor of approving that elementary student handbook? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Going to the middle school student handbook, that's pretty much the same thing.
the big changes in that are the grading policy, which we presented last year that for review, but it was exactly. The domains that they were gonna be graded on, also athletic eligibility was changed, as determined by the new work ethic rubric. Which is unsatisfactory, satisfactory, exemplary. It was also, the timing was changed so that they are not eligible the following week from the Monday to, I don't want to speak, it's like 5 or 6 o'clock on Friday. Because what was happening last year, kids would become ineligible on a Friday, and parents will already have invited people to that Friday game or whatever, and then it's just kind of uncomfortable. So those were the two major changes that were in there, but otherwise it's, yeah. You know, people come from out of town and. Yeah, so, give it all.
Have we done anything to communicate the new grade changes to the school parents?
All the classes last year received, here are the big changes from last year at the end of the year. I sent one to all the 4th grade parents, all the 5th, all the 6th, and the 7th. And the kids have all gone over it with their teams. They had meetings for open house and teams went over it. The kids all went over it. But all the parents at the end of last year got that. Here are the updates for the next school year, and the grading policy was right. Just the same as the one you received on the top there. And also there was information about flex and, this big change, the big changes. Your schedule changes.
And then the open house, there was like a handout. that they handed
Oh,
out
cool.
that had
Okay. And most of the new students' parents, reached out over the summer. And I sent an email that the original parents had gotten. I guess the other thing is we did start some support classes for elections and take of that. And there was a rubric communicated to all of those parents whose kids were placed in those. Their trimester long classes, like there's a writing recovery the first trimester, there's like a reading fluency. That the core teachers are teaching this year instead of having paras teach, so that was also parents whose kids were affected prior to open house, so.
Would that be for like the 6th and 7th graders, kids that were already in middle school and then go back to 5th then? That just means.
It was for 7th and 8th graders. It only affects the 7th and 8th graders because they are the only ones that aren't on a wheel. Because 5th and 6th are on a 4-day kind of a wheel where they don't have, yeah.
Motion to approve the middle school handbook.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting middle school handbook? Aye. Opposed? And now we get into the policy. Richard.
Yeah.
And this copies of the policies and added notes as to what had been changed, which was very nice. Sure. Because there are a lot of them, there's very few changes, just a
Right.
little wording
Right.
here and there, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. A lot of it is very, very subtle changes. You know. It's good.
I'm just asking now, is the MPSBA, have got our handbook, or is it the, it is.
Yes.
So from now on, if we have a question about our handbook.
Let me handle that. Yeah, that's gonna be a very delicate dance.
Okay. Not that I did, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way, no reason to do that. It all needs to go through you.
Correct.
So, okay, I just.
Yeah, yeah. No.
Okay, so let's start with the policy. And now I understand that we can pass them right now.
Yes.
We don't
Yep.
have to have the pre-reading and then pass them next
Yep.
time,
No.
right?
Yep.
We can look at them and pass them on at the same meeting.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, all right.
Can we do them all at one?
Yeah.
We can. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
we'll
talk
together.
briefly about each one of them. Or however you want to do it. we can do that.
Unless anybody has anything that I distract.
I think it really helps you that informational stuff.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
thank
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm comfortable if you want to speak to each one of them, and we go together.
Sure. That sounds great. Yeah, all of the policies are required of us, you know, anyway, but the first one is brand new. It's the only new policy brought forth by the legislature, but it changes nothing about what we do, our daily practice. Because it says that all student contact must have employee complete a criminal background check. And so that's something that we already do and already have in place.
It maybe mention something about that, that if people don't show up to work, we don't pay for it.
Correct, yeah, so we have the background checks that we have people do in the county. And it used to be that we would pay for it right away, and then they just wouldn't show up, or they would quit, or they just would never sub for us, and it's pretty expensive, you know, to do that, so we will cover it, but they have to come back and join our team.
Then we'll write them a check
Correct.
for their,
Yeah.
for criminal background check.
Yep.
So that we don't have a whole lot we don't spend a lot of money on criminal background checks of people that now.
Right, yeah, it's a very thorough background check, very, very thorough, so it's good. I've had people ask me, dang, what do you guys do? They found everything. Yeah. Yeah, then, and it says, does say in there too, if there's anything that's flagged, I get the report, Brooke brings it to me. So, yeah, same process as before, so. The 1111, is basically the election one where it changes the timeline of when the elections can occur. And it says, I've got some notes here too. It's from House Bill 406 that requires the elections called at least 145 days prior to a regular election, but can be amended until 70 days prior. So anyway, it's a pretty long time, 145 days.
And this now is being handled by the election.
Yeah, and that's another thing to point out too.
It's not our office.
We're not, yes,
Yeah. Thank
right, the county elections handling those now for us. Then the next one is 2132, student and family privacy rights. Again, this wouldn't be something that we really do anyway, is force a student to take a survey that gives us personal information about it. Really the only thing that we have in here is that we can get it's academic information on kids, really, essentially, which is something we use all the time anyway. And we do need their identity to do that. You know, they can't like opt out of our benchmark testing because that's, you know, something that we have to have by the law anyway. You know, the law says we have to do that. So this is if, you know, there was a situation where it was a third party, especially coming in and they did survey results on kids, then you could say, you know, no, thank you. So anyway, this doesn't change any practice that we do at all, especially at the elementary level.
Parents would get alerted if there was a third party.
Correct.
Survey.
We would have to do that. Yep. And then the 2150 is the suicide awareness and prevention. The only change in there is that we need to offer 1 hour of professional development to staff every 3 years. Instead of, I think it was 2 hours every 5, they changed it to 1 hour every 3 years. So we will, you know, have professional development within that. I know the Nate Shute Foundation offers a lot of that anyway, so we would just piggyback with that. And I know Crystal has connections with the Nate Shute Foundation, fundraise for the Nate Shute Foundation. So this will be a very easily implemented policy that we already have in place, but it just changes the number of hours, number of years that we have to do it. 2334 is release time for religious instruction. Again, this policy itself was changed to clean up the similarities with policy 2410 and 2413, which was almost identical wording. Where we are, again, none of the optional language will apply to us because we don't have, you know, a high school district where it would be, so we'd offer credits for completion of religious courses held outside of our school. So this was simply something, again, one of the clear just formalities that we have to do, and it cleans up the language that was literally almost identical those other two policies. 2450, the recognition of Native American culture heritage. It's a policy that really deals mainly with OPI. It requires OPI to create an online portal for IEFA feedback and report to legislative committees. I'll let you know that there was an OPI rep at our meeting this morning who said that the system is down for them right now. We've got a staff member on site who acts as our IEFA liaison. It's Mr. Besaw. So he will be involved in, you know, getting into those IEFA courses, and he'll be involved in training, you know, staff members in some form or another. This policy also has accreditation standards that will include tribe representation for contact updates, which will apply to us in, I think it's 2029. So we've got a long time for that. But and again, it is something that we already have to do, is prove that we're doing IEFA. But what that says is that, you know, we'd have to do with input from local tribal authorities. So, and then the 3210 is equal educational opportunity. And this one this one does kind of show up with us a little bit, where it's homeschool kids who sign up must provide proof of their identity and residency in our district to do activities that we host. So if they, want to play a sport here and they live in our district, they're homeschooled, they can play in that sport. The only caveat to it is that if their home district does not provide that activity, then they can go to the closest next district. So where that applies to us is usually football, where Kyla does not offer football. So if they're in Kyla's district, homeschooled, they can come here to football. Basically, we had this policy for a long time, and it basically just says that they have to provide proof of identity.
It may say something about, they might have to provide that they actually are registered homeschoolers.
Correct, by the county.
With the county
Yep,
superintendent.
and that's true.
That's the other part that really was here with Maggie, said she would like to see
Yeah.
not only proof of residence, but proof that they're actually
Yeah.
the superintendent and homeschoolers.
Correct.
So if they,
Before they come in to play on.
so if they go to Kyla,
Mhm.
then they can't come here and play football.
Mhm.
Only if they homeschool.
Only if they, no, they can come and second Kyla too.
Oh,
Yep, they, not just homeschool.
okay.
Yes, if they attend Kyla and they want to play football,
Only Bissell, I would assume like only Bissell.
they don't have, I don't know if we have any only Bissell. Because
Okay.
I think our kids
Do
in
they
Kyla.
football team?
I don't think so.
I don't know how they could.
No, yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, that's a good caveat. It's not just homeschool. That's just.
Okay.
Do we, just charge the normal athletic fees?
Mhm.
And that's it?
Yep. Yep, and we get a quarter A and B payment for those kids too as well. So help supplement that cost too. Yeah, and then the video surveillance 3235 is a policy that states that if any student is competing or participating in an event that would already be open to the public, then the school can film or parents can film it without parental permission. So, and again, that's more pertinent to us, like, if the school wanted to film like a concert or something that's already available or open to the public, we can do that. It also just clarified some things, like especially at the high school level, where they have the NFHS kind of thing, where you can stream it and parents can watch it and stuff like that. You don't have to get permission from that.
Somebody wanted to put up part of our football games on Facebook.
Mhm. They could do that. Yep, correct.
So it does say signs shall be posted at various locations to inform students, staff, and the public that videos, surveillance cameras, or anything else, do you have that?
Yeah, and that's something that we would put up anyway with our new camera system. We would say, video surveillance in progress.
Okay.
Cover ourselves. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering though, I mean, 'cause it's talking about just during school academic time too, like, we need to have that up. Just in general.
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think so. Yeah. So policy 3410 is student health, physical screenings and examination. And again, this was very, very subtle changes to this. Just struck out some language, essentially added what's physical and mental, but what the important thing about this is that it does not include threat assessments. So if the staff or the admin felt like that there needed to be some sort of threat assessment done on the student, we could still do that, which is a pretty high level thing that we would only implement in case of a literal threat to themselves. So that would qualify as a health screening, but this cleans it up. It says it does not apply to a threat assessment. That last one there is 4520, which is cooperative programs with other districts and public agencies. And again, this one really does not apply to us in any way. This just changes the policy. In the policy book. In fact, we've gotten away from this with our interlocal. It's, you know, already kind of separating, so I really don't foresee us. You know, applying anything to this policy at all. Just like, I mean, as an example, I don't want to beat it to death, but like. Entering an interlocal agreement, providing the sharing of teachers, you know, specialist superintendents. That type of thing, that's not something that would apply to us. That's all the policies we have for this meeting. The next one, we'll have about the same number of policies. Yeah, again, it's not a lot of meat to the policies this year. There's no, you know, like last time we did this, there was some pretty big changes to some things, but this is more, which is a good thing. It's more clarifying language.
So helpful to have your own notes.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the policy adjustments 1 through 8, 1 through 10.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that? All those in favor, accepting all of the revised policies, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Good.
Adjourn. Second.
Good. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?